Every day a police officer reports to duty, he knows he may encounter a shoot-don't-shoot situation before his shift is finished. This armed robbery response is used as a training model at the Tucson Police Training Academy. On March 26, 1988, Tucson police officer Matt Griffiths and Reserve Officer Don Oakes were working a rush-hour accident in heavy traffic when they were approached by a taxicab driver on foot. The driver reported that he had dropped off a fare at a convenience store, whom he had later witnessed attempting to rob the store at gunpoint. The two officers had only one portable radio between them. Officer Oakes retained the radio and advised dispatch of the incident, while Officer Griffiths responded to the scene on foot.
I had the portable radio. I advised dispatch that there was an armed robbery in progress. I then proceeded to the Circle K also.
When I got to the store, I drew my gun out, and there's a window on the north side of the store at the corner. Also, just adjacent from that window is a post. I peeked in the window as I approached the store, and I could see the clerk backed up against the counter with his hands up, and two cash drawers sitting on the counter. Also, on the other side of the counter was the subject described as a white male, about 6 foot tall, wearing a brown jacket, dark sunglasses, and blue jeans. At the time, he was holding one hand in the front of his waist as if he was holding some kind of pistol or weapon. He was also reaching to the cash registers or the cash drawers on the counter and removing the money and putting it in his pocket. I then positioned myself behind a post which was just catty-cornered from the front door. It was about 10 feet from the front door. I could look into the front of the building because it's all glass, and I could see the suspect telling the clerk to move around to the back of the counter away from him. When he did walk out of the store, I saw his hand on the waist area where the gun was, the pistol. At that time, I decided if he turned toward me, I was going to shoot him. I was going to give him the chance to pull the gun. But at the same time, a customer walked in between us and bumped into him, and it was sort of like, to me, a relief of pressure. I was able to pull back, and I was like relieved of the side that I didn't have to shoot this guy.
The suspect fled, pursued by Griffiths, while Oakes radioed the suspect's description to dispatch. Officer Sue Early, who had been circulating in the area looking for the suspect, heard the advisory relayed by Oakes.
And as I drove south on Alvernon, the suspect walked out of an alley, and I turned around and parked my car sort of facing towards him and got out of my car, but not out of it completely, sort of between the door and the driver's seat, and asked him, or told him to please stop. And I drew my weapon and ordered him to stop, but he ignored me and just continued to rock into Alvernon. At that time, I saw Officer Griffiths, who was on the other side of me, sort of in a crossfire. Had I shot at the suspect, had I missed, there was potential that I would have hit Officer Griffiths, because he was, in essence, pointing towards my direction, and I was pointing towards his direction in a crossfire, and knew that that was not a shoot situation.
The suspect never responded to verbal commands to stop. Officers pursued the suspect into a parking lot, where he stopped against a parked car.
At this time, I decided I had to make a move, because any minute I thought he's going to pull the gun and shoot me. At this time also, my adrenaline's pumping. I was scared. I was mad because he wasn't listening to me. I was also getting to the point where I was getting hoarse from screaming and yelling. When I grabbed him, he jerked away from me. And when he jerked, it scared me. What I did then, I reached over, grabbed him by the back of the hair with my hand. Somehow or another, I was able to get to the back of him and subdued him by striking him in the back of the head with my service revolver several times. The suspect fell on the ground. He still had his hands underneath his coat pocket, underneath his coat front. As he rolled over, he still had his hands underneath his jacket. His glasses fell off. His eyes were the size of golf balls looking at me.
As Griffith struggled with the suspect, backup officers arrived to help subdue and handcuff the suspect. During the incident, officers knew the suspect had a gun and responded to the threat with weapons drawn. What they didn't know was that during the chase, the suspect ditched the weapon, which was found later, cocked and ready to fire. Although the potential of a shooting was high, no shots were fired.
As I was approaching the store, I was thinking, what am I going to do when I get there? But once I got to the store and looked in the window and I actually saw the robbery in progress, something inside me clicked where training just took over. I started doing what training taught me. Seek cover, draw your weapon, get ready.
Police officer, freeze!
The positioning of where I took the cover, the way I held my service revolver with both hands, thinking about what I was going to say when he came out of the store. Training took over right away.
Officers involved believe that no shooting occurred because of teamwork and training. One consequence of this incident is that now all Tucson police officers are equipped with portable radios.